All right, contrary to what the unhinged left is saying following the historic Dobbs decision from the Supreme Court last Friday, there has not been a blanket ban on abortion in the United States. I just talked about that a few moments ago. It's not a ban. It simply says this is a legislative issue that should be decided by the people. They didn't completely eliminate abortion. They overturned Roe and said should be decided by the elected representatives. Well, the abortion issue has simply been, as I said, returned to the states, making state and local elections even more important. Already, we've seen state and local officials doubling down on their commitment to abortion. More than 80 elected prosecutors, including district attorneys in more than 10 states, have already expressed their intention to not enforce abortion bans. And as I played the clip earlier, the president said the life issue will be on the ballot this November. He said Roe will be on the ballot. Hey, you know what? Abortion has been on the ballot since really 1973. We figured that out a long time ago. They're just now coming to that realization. But you've got to be prepared to now look through the pro-life lenses all the way down the ballot to every individual running for office. Joining me now to discuss what's happening at the state level post-Roe is Connor Semelsberger. He's the Director of Federal Affairs for Life and Human Dignity here at the Family Research Council. Connor, welcome back to the program.
Great to be here on this post-Roe week here in D.C.
Yeah, and congratulations. You're a new father, too.
Yeah, I am. God's blessed me with a month becoming a dad, and at the end of the month, seeing a great victory in the court. So blessed to be here.
Yeah, you don't look too sleep-deprived.
Not yet.
All right, let's talk about this. The battle now goes to the state and local level, and you know what? It doesn't appear that the Democrats are too bashful about what they're trying to do.
No, not at all. Like you outlined, we're getting the assaults from the federal government. We heard in Biden's speech, and earlier today, our Secretary of Health and Human Services outlined his plan. We now have a full website, reproductivehealth.gov, to show people from our taxpayer dollars government website where to get abortions. But like you said, at the state level too, California does not like that Texas can protect life from conception. And so they are ponying up money, other states as well, to bring people out of state to their state to pay for abortions there way into the late trimesters, more than we've ever seen with their state taxpayer dollars.
Okay, so we have about 13 states, if I'm not mistaken, that have trigger mechanisms. Mm-hmm. Some of those have already varying degrees of how and when they go into effect. But we've already seen lawsuits from the abortion industry against some of those states, like my home state of Louisiana. We've had one filed yesterday in Mississippi. So what's the status on that?
Yep. Yeah. So we have, like you said, those 13 states. And so far we have a lawsuit in Idaho from their Planned Parenthood, Mississippi, as you outlined, Louisiana, and Texas actually as well. And Texas is interesting. It was Whole Women's Health. We know that name well. They filed a suit. And again, they were allowed to continue abortions, them specifically, those clinics in Texas. So it's continuing to play out. Most of this now at the state court level, right? We're used to hearing from the Supreme Court on federal laws. This is now a state Supreme Courts. And like you said, how important these local elections are. Many people aren't aware who their state Supreme Court justices are, the makeup, how they get elected. And it's these state Supreme Courts that will be interpreting their own state constitutions on whether these laws can stand or not.
So Connor, kind of walk us through here quickly the strongest pro-life states and what we see happening in those states.
Yeah, what was great is pretty much an admission by the abortion industry, the Planned Parenthood, to say, yeah, we do abortions way more than 3%. And many, even before the threat of law came into effect, said, we're going to stop doing abortions. And I think they got the message, even if there's an injunction like we've seen in Louisiana, those abortion clinics aren't necessarily protected from later enforcement down the road. So far, we've seen some good signs. Alabama, others, and their attorney general have just come in strong and say, it's our duty and we're going to enforce this law. So it shows just how important your attorney general is, your governor, your state legislature, of course, but these other offices that people maybe haven't paid much attention to just got a lot more important.
Well, just like local DAs and prosecutors who, as we saw in Travis County, which is there in Houston, saying they will not enforce the law.
Yeah, and so that's why Texas is a great example, right? And we've heard this from even their attorney general, because certain local DAs said, hey, we're not enforcing your full protections, or, while it's caught up in litigation, thank goodness they still have the Texas Heartbeat Act that they passed, which is the citizens enforcement, because what that does is it still keeps those abortion clinics at bay, at least at 6 weeks, while the local enforcement maybe isn't complying with state law and it's caught up in litigation. That citizens petition or citizens enforcement is coming in very effectively here in Texas to keep them at 6 weeks.
I wonder if you'll see, it's going to get kind of complicated when you have the abortion tourism where they have pulling people across state lines, but then you see some of these creative legislative initiatives that allow citizens to take certain actions. I'm wondering if you're going to see states ended up suing states over the issue of abortion.
Yeah, that's what it's setting up for you, Tony. It's almost 20 so states that want abortion on demand, paid for in your state. And about 20 or so states say, we want to protect life at conception with very minimal exceptions, maybe for life of the mother. So that's really what it's setting up for, unlike something we've seen for many, many years. But it's going to be creative approaches. It's not a one-size-fits-all. And that's what's great about these states. Each little individual state has its opportunity to find what works best for them.
But it's far from over.
Right. We just began, as we said, day one. The pro-life movement really is coming to its own on Friday, June 24, 2022. This is where the real work begins.
Connor Semelsberger, again, congratulations on the new baby, and thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, of course. We're just so happy to be in this post-Roe America and here at FRC fighting for the unborn.
Thanks so much for stopping in today.